Hi, happy Thursday. Allegra Ramos here. I am a brain science based productivity and time management expert. And if you've seen me before, then you know that you are watching the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, video cast. And on today's show, I'm very excited. I'm going to have a very special guest joining me in just a moment. She is a sales and networking expert and author of this book that we're going to talk about. But just a little bit about me if you're joining me for the first time. Welcome. I go live every Thursday at this time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And this video cast will also go up as the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, episode 126, wherever you listen. So you can always catch it later on if you want. And if you're joining me live, welcome. I do see the chat, so you are welcome to put messages there. And if you are watching the recording, you can also put messages. I do get the recording messages as well, although sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to respond to those. And a little bit about me. I'm all about brain science based productivity and time management. I've written these 4 books. This is my little bouquet of books. And this one, 321 Done, this is my best selling book. And this is all about helping you reclaim time by approaching your tasks strategically. So if you've ever felt like you're working on something new and you don't know where to start, this book will help you with that. If you've ever felt like you don't know when's the best time to do things in your day, this book will help you with that. And you can find out all about my books and all my offerings at bywdreams.com. And so I want to welcome to the stage now, Mandi. I can only say your name one way, the super Italian way. I want to welcome to the stage now Mandi Graziano, which I know that's your married name.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm still learning how to pronounce it after 15 years, but I love it. I'll take it.
Mandi Graziano from Ohio. From Ohio. Mandi is a sales and networking expert and author. She works in the conference industry, so she's an expert at planning large events, professional events. And she's also the founder of FaceTime Coaching, which is a sales coaching organization. And we're going to talk all about that in a bit. But for those people who have seen my podcast before, you all know that I like to insert a little chaos into chaos and spontaneity into this recording by pulling a card. And I always pull from the back. I have no idea what it's going to say. Mandi has not seen this before either. So let's get started. Sometimes the best way to make a big difference is adding up lots of small ones. Queen Rania Al Abdullah of Jordan. I actually know who this person is. It's amazing how many people I haven't heard of yet and whose wisdom blesses me. Okay, so sometimes the best way to make a big difference is adding up lots of small ones.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, we could discuss this so many different ways. How does this hit you, Mandi? Or do you want me to go first?
Well, I believe in micro moments. So that hits me because that speaks my language. I in my sales coaching practice, when I work with teams especially, I think so many times we're so focused on that big year end goal or that big huge account or that big huge that it feels daunting and impossible to achieve. But when you focus on the micro goals, the micro wins, the micro moments, all of those things added up are what get you to the big moments. And when you're celebrating those mini moments, you're actually
Yes.
putting energy and inertia towards the big moment. So that speaks to me on a professional and a personal moment because I'm really big on recognizing the mini moments and celebrating the mini moments. I love
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I were talking before we started about our health journeys that we've been on.
Yeah.
And I've been on a health journey for the last 5 years. My father passed in 2020, and I just basically stopped doing anything active and then combined that with, depression and all of that sort of stuff. And so I wasn't my healthiest coming out of 2020.
Mhm.
And also too, I'm in my 50s, so perimenopause, menopause, all of those changes
Mhm.
were happening during the same time. And, I've seen like my health creeping up, like certain numbers that I needed to pay attention to. And last year I decided to take it. I mean, I eat pretty clean. Uh, I I mean, people who know me say I eat very clean. They make fun of my kale salads and my baked sweet potatoes. So I live a pretty clean life, but I was doing like 80% of what I needed to do. And I finally decided to do the other 20%. And what I said to myself was, I can't wait to see where I'm going to be in a year
Mm,
because I knew I wasn't going to do anything crazy radical. I was
yeah,
just going to, as I told you, I switched from a 20-pound weighted vest to a
yeah,
40-pound, and I didn't do it overnight, right? It was like 24, 28, 30, 32.
yeah,
But it was the daily changes in the last year that have made me so much healthier this year, to the point where people who, like some of my doctors with checkups, they're commenting. And so this is, like you're saying, personally and professionally, it's the little things we do either every day or every week that add up to success, visual experiencing your goals, completing your goals after a certain period of time.
yeah. And I love a micro goal as a part of my health. And I know we're here to talk about sales and business, but I love mixing in a little health chat too.
Yeah, yeah.
But in my last couple of years on my health journey, one of the greatest successes I've had is once a month I set micro goals, and I have 6 categories. So it's physical, emotional, spiritual, nutritional, financial, and business.
Mm,
And so I do a micro goal for each one. And as an example is like, don't eat
yes,
past 7 o'clock,
right.
or RPM, when you first wake up in the morning, rise, pee, meditate. Like there's just like these little goals. And at the end of the month, I'm doing them. And then I pick another goal. And now by the end of 2 years, I've got all of these really awesome rituals and habits.
Yes,
Now, sometimes at the end of the month, I'm like, that's a stupid goal. Like, I'm not going to do that. I didn't do it at all. So I just,
right.
and I think sometimes with your goals, whether it's personal or professional, if you set them, you just have to forgive yourself. Like, I'm looking up at my vision board right here at the beginning of the year. I was just thinking about this. And I was like, wow, I've done about 50% of these, and I've got 2.5 months left. And I was feeling some shame and guilt and anger. And then I was like, you know what? There's a whole bunch of other things not on that board
Mm,
that I accomplished this year that, like, I look at, there's one thing that says breathe, right? I take breathing breaks like every 90 minutes.
mhm.
And the breathing break led me to a squat squad, which led me to like better health, which led me, so sometimes you have these goals and then you shame yourself for not doing them, but like it's those micro things that actually led
Yes.
you to something else that might not even be on the board. So yeah, I like your micro card. It's good
Okay, I
stuff.
have so many questions.
Yeah.
Squat squad.
Yes. You want to
What
be in it?
what is a squat squad? I first have to know what I'm getting into.
Oh, so I read this article about blood sugar.
Oh
So
yeah, every 45 minutes,
every
right?
45 minutes for 8-hour period, you
Mhm.
actually improve your blood sugar levels. So I started doing it. I'm like, this is fun, but it'd be more fun if I had accountability people. So
Yeah,
I put a Instagram post out that just said, I'm doing this. Anybody want to do it with me? And people were like, yeah. And
so great.
I didn't think I'd start a squad. And then all of a sudden we had a DM group, and then people were like posting pictures of them doing squats on the golf course, doing squats on a train, making their entire team do squats in the middle of a meeting. So yeah, it was unintentional squat squad, but yeah, it's just an
Nice.
accountability group on Instagram. Yeah.
That's great. I like to squat while I'm brushing my teeth. I hold a
Oh,
2-minute squat.
yes, you told me that on our podcast. Yes,
Yes,
so
yes. I
great.
love I love a good squat.
That's great.
Okay, awesome. Oh my gosh, I could talk for an hour just about what we've just started talking about now. But since I promised some planning for networking success,
Mhm.
at the top of this, let's just give people a quick win because humans, we love a quick win. Let's give everyone a quick win in terms of networking. So I always say planning makes everything easier. And I attended a session with you where you gave some strategies that you pre-plan before you go to a networking event that were so great. I actually shared them with a number of people, including my husband, who doesn't like talking to new people.
Yeah, most people don't.
Yeah. And so could you share some of these pre-planning for networking success tips that you gave?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked about the pre, because I think so many times when we think about networking, we think about the moment, the in real life, the at the event,
Mhm.
but we forget there's stuff you can do pre and there's stuff that you can do post. And the stuff that you do pre actually loops the conversation. So when you actually get to that event, it's not so awkward. So
Yes.
some examples are on Instagram, for example, I will take pictures of the potential outfits I might wear and do a poll and ask people to weigh in.
Mhm.
Or when I get to the hotel, I'll do a video of my shoe. I always line up my shoes. And I didn't know that was weird until one of my coworkers stayed in my rooms with me and she put her shoes next to mine. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to do a shoe lineup." So now I share the shoe lineup. And or I'll do leading up to it the week before, I'll do a roll call on LinkedIn. I'll do a post that just says roll call, who's going to be at this event and what are you most excited who are you most excited to see? What are you most excited to learn? Here are my top 3 things that I'm excited about. And then the day of the event, when you get there, people are like, "Oh, I do this exact same thing with my shoes," or "I'm wearing that pair of shoes," or
Right.
yeah, I'm excited about seeing Bailey speak too, or whatever that is. So you're just looping the conversation. So when you arrive, you already have some seeds planted, and it makes it easier to start conversations.
Yeah. It's like you've given people an icebreaker to use with
Yeah,
you.
totally. Yeah, I like pre icebreakers, and that's basically what it is. I also think it's really important to plan for yourself. You're not going to talk to all 220 people or 20,000 people. That's just not a successful event, right?
Mhm.
But if you give yourself a strategy to talk to, I want to have a deep and meaningful conversation with at least 3 people.
Yes.
And you identify those 3 people and you look them up in advance and you on your phone you put 2 or 3 interesting questions, right? Like take how are you off the table. That doesn't take anybody anywhere. That's a
Right.
shallow question. Swap it out with what made you laugh this week, or what's your legacy dish? What would 2.0 you say to 1.0 you? Like there's so many questions, but put them in your phone and be ready to
Yes.
ask just one of those questions to one of those 3 to 5 people, and then you'll be ready to go. And then when you walk away from that event, you won't feel so overwhelmed. You won't feel so bummed, like, oh, I didn't get to meet the 40 people I wanted to. Nobody is going to talk to 40 people. So
Right.
forgive yourself for that. Focus on a small amount. And then, yeah. And then another thing about preparation for that is, for example, going to San Francisco next week for a gala. And I know a little bit about San Francisco, but I didn't know a lot about the hotel I'm staying at.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
am staying at a particular hotel that has a a really cool history in San Francisco. And so I learned a little bit about the hotel. So when I approach people, I could be like, did you know that this hotel was named this for this reason? Just to have a little something in my back pocket to have a
Right.
conversation about. So I think knowing something about the location, the agenda, the destination, the people that are organizing the event, just know a little bit about that, be prepared with that, and then you instantly have conversation topics to discuss.
Yes. And actually the brain science shows that doing this planning lowers your stress and anxiety
It
levels.
totally does. Yeah, it totally does.
And this is something you can use personally and professionally. My kiddo was homeschooled, and so I did a lot of this sort of coaching with her whenever we would go to social events because,
Mhm.
she's homeschooled, she's an only child. She's no longer homeschooled, but anyway, that's another story. And she's an only child, and so like for instance, when we'd be at the beach and sometimes she'd want to ask us to play with her, and we'd be playing with her and then we'd be tired. We'd say, "You know what? There's so many kids here. Go ask one of them to play." And she was like, "Well, how?" And so I would coach her on what to say, and then we would
Yeah,
role play a little bit. And we've done this her whole life. And she's so good at going up to and talking to people because she's done this planning exercise. And so, typing out the questions on your phone, like you said, like that's going to prime your brain so that when you meet someone, you're not like, I don't know what to say.
right. Yeah, and everybody. I think people think too that everybody's better at this than they are. The reality is, I'm extrovert, and I still get nervous at social functions. So I think assume that everybody around you is just as nervous as you.
Yes.
Everybody around you is just as awkward as you. And open the door for people, right? Open the circle, open the door, be disarming, and it's going to flow a lot better for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm not as extroverted as you, so I
Mhm.
absolutely feel like people are like, "You seem so extroverted up on stage." I was like, "I'm on stage, I'm the only one
Right.
talking."
Right. Nobody can interrupt me. Yeah.
I have a PowerPoint presentation. I have a
Right, right,
prepared speech.
right.
Yeah. So I can say as someone who everyone thinks is extroverted, I absolutely have this and these are the things that I do to lower my stress and anxiety so that I can talk to people. You
Yeah.
gave one other tip that I love too, which is every single day in the year is some sort of
National
national holiday.
holiday, yes.
So find out what it is when you're at the event, right? Like
That's
it was
funny.
it was donut day the day I met you.
Yeah, and I was not too long ago, it was National Black Dog Day, and I have a black golden doodle who's so sweet, and it's so rare because normally golden doodles are golden. And I looked at her, I'm like, it's your day today, Luca. And my husband's like, where do you get these things from? I'm like, just Google national holiday calendar. There's actually 3 or 4 of them. And it's an instant conversation to talk
It
about with
is.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, because 'cause they're pretty hilarious, some of them. I mean, you're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, we're really reaching for a day today."
Yeah. Pirate
Uh,
Pirate Day, hot homemade cookie day. Yeah, it's a day for
ok
everything.
okay, so prepare your questions, find out something about the place you're going to or the day or the conference, and open-ended questions, which is actually a perfect segue to your book because asking open-ended questions is a tip. So tell us a little bit about sales tales before we go into the questions. Which,
Yeah,
by the way, I love the cover.
it's soft.
It's
Yeah.
soft, but it's also I love that it's printed on here. It's not a book jacket,
Yeah.
and it's a hardcover. So, I don't know, it feels, like, really special and substantial in a way.
Yeah, well, that's funny because that cover, the illustrator from the publisher, they kept sending me all these pictures, and I was like, "I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it." And everything else in the process had been really easy, like, really
Mhm.
they had hit the mark, and this was the first speed bump, so I was like, "Oh, no, I've heard about this type of situation." And the publisher was like, "Mandy, close your eyes. When you think of sales, what do you think of?" And I closed my eyes and I was like, I just think of just running as fast as I can, just running and hustling and sweating and just moving around a lot. And then within the hour, that cover came to be. And I think the picture of a businesswoman in a blur just running is just
Yeah.
so typical of so many of us, just in business in general. But what they didn't know is I always wear red tennis shoes with my outfits. And they put
Oh, wow.
red tennis shoes on her, which was great. And then for my book launch party, the suggested attire was anything you want and red shoes. So everybody at the book launch wore red shoes, which was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, this could totally be you,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I have that
Definitely.
exact outfit. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, Sales Tales, it's a hilarious business book, and it's written in the order of a typical sale. So, there it goes from prospecting to making a pitch to time management, which I feel is the most critical key for
Mhm.
any business leader to better understand. Networking, closing the deal, and then disaster selling. So at the time, I'd finished writing the book in 2019, but then obviously 2020 happened, and I'm like, oh, thank you, COVID. You gave me another chapter. So it gave me disaster selling chapter. But
Right.
when I thought about the tactics that I was putting into place during COVID, I thought back to, wow, I've been here before. I was here in 2008 with the auto crisis. I was here in 2001 with the dot com burst. I was here in 1999 with some of the different financial situations happening. So, we all have an opportunity to sell through a disaster. There's many opportunities in a down economy or an uncertain economy, which, we are in uncertain times right now, but
Yes.
I am very certain about how to grow our business during these times right now. Like, doesn't scare me.
Mhm.
So that last chapter came. So it goes in the order of a sale. It's funny. I asked a whole bunch of people that I respect and love their feedback. So there's stories in there.
Mhm.
There's my stories, and then there's some stats along the way.
Okay, so disaster selling is the last chapter, but since
Yeah,
you already mentioned it, I'm sure it piqued people's interest. So, what are some things people can do in these uncertain times
yeah,
to plant seeds or even harvest?
yeah, yeah. I actually have a whole session, Sales Tales Live, coming up about that in February for entrepreneurs. How to sell, how to sell during uncertain times.
You know what? Let me
Um,
just put this little ticker So
Oh,
that if you wanna get in touch with Mandy, because I know she's talking about great stuff right now, you probably are like, "Where can I find her?" This is where you can find her. Okay, so
awesome.
tell us about Sales Tales Live.
Yeah. So, in uncertain times, the best thing you can do is form deeper relationships with your customers. So, um, ask them, call them, email them. Hey, things are a little wonky right now. How is this impacting your business? And then share of yourself. Here's how this is impacting mine. I think so many times people feel like, well, customers don't care. The best thing you can do is help customers understand how your business operates and just be
Mm,
like, here's how this is affecting my business. How is it affecting yours? Part of my thing is I want to be the best customer servant to you as I can. So understanding how this hiccup in the world right now impacts you actually helps me serve you better. So asking those
right.
questions, um, looking at your current contracts that you have with people and understanding where there are holes because
Mm,
people are going to ask you. They are going to ask you for a discount. They're going to ask you for a solution. They might try and get out of contracts. Really understanding what your risk is right now is going to help you be prepared when they call because they will call. They might call to add more, they might call to shrink it, but like you want to know and understand your contracts. On the flip side,
yeah.
if you're working with vendors, this is an opportunity to form a deeper relationship and be like, hey, I want to work with you for the next 3 years. I know our contract is now just 1 year. What
Mhm.
type of discounts or economies of scale or what type of bundle can we do if I sign on for 3 years right now? Like there's an opportunity on the other side of this as
Right,
well.
right.
Um, and then opportunities in general. There are industries that when we are in the world that we're in right now, they do better. So find those industries and
Mm,
start doing business with one of those industries. And if you don't have a non-compete or if it's not a conflict of interest, start doing business with all of those businesses within that industry. And I won't go through like during this economic recession, here's this
right.
industry to go for. I will do that in February. We don't have enough time today, but like there are industries that thrive in this time. And you know it because they're the ones spending the money on podcast advertising or TV advertising or billboards or they're in your ear about something.
Mhm.
They're doing Instagram, they're doing meta ads. The companies that are spending money right now are the ones that have the money. So just look for them and reach out to them and do more business with them too.
Great, and if you want more about this, sign up
Yeah.
for Sales Tales Live, which will be in February sometime, and they can
Yeah.
find out that info on your website, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Mandi Graziano. You have to type it in with the Italian accent or it won't
You
come up.
you have to say it out loud like that.
You have to say it out
Graziano.
loud
Yeah.
with the fingers.
Yes.
Yes, one of my best friends is Roman. He
Mhm.
says Roman, like, not Italian, and, yeah, he never has a body part that's not moving when he's talking.
Oh, same, same.
Um, okay, so some other great tips in this book. I love that you tell people that you don't give out business cards unless people ask for them. Explain that tip because I think it's a great one.
Yeah. If people want to work with you, they're going to ask. And this is just because I made big mistakes when I was younger. I would hand out business cards like candy. I was that annoying 23-year-old to be like, yeah, like you
You
get a
get a
business
business card. You
card.
get a
Yeah, yeah,
business card.
yeah,
You
yeah.
get
Like make it rain business cards. People are like, cool story. I didn't ask for that. And so and I felt the vibe. Like I felt like the people being like, "Oh God, she's one of those," and I didn't want to feel like that. So then I was like, "Well, I'm just not going to hand them out." And people will ask if they want to work with you. They will
Right.
ask. There's also, when you meet people in person, there's other ways to get your message out. People want to get to know you as a person and
Mhm.
if they like you as a person, they're going to want to do business with you as a
Right.
person. So, any great business relationship that I've had that's lasted more than 10 years, it didn't start with a transaction. It didn't
Mm.
start with somebody saying, can you do this for me? And I say yes, and then we work together. It
Right.
started with you're from Ohio, I'm from Ohio, or you're a football fan, I'm a football fan, or
Right.
you like to ride bikes, I like to ride bikes. It
You
started
like
with
to do
these
squats? I like
I
to do
like
s
spots, exactly. It starts with these personal interactions. So
Right.
I'm a big believer on like taking how are you off the table, swapping
Mm,
it out with
mhm.
better questions that take you to a deeper relationship. And then somebody's going to be like, how can I stay in touch with you? What's
Yeah.
your Instagram handle? What's your LinkedIn? Can I scan your QR code? Can I get your card? It's going to come.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what else I love about what you said too is that for some reason there's this limiting belief that is popular in our culture when we're younger that networking means working with people you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is people don't work with people they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So just take that off the table and look for the people that you like when you're at these events, and those can be the people you work with.
Yeah, and I would also challenge people to take it a step further because that's a big myth, right?
Mhm.
People they don't buy from people they like. People buy from people they trust. And
Mhm.
the way to establish trust is asking questions, being disarming, opening up the circle,
Mhm.
being real, being your most authentic self. Like you want to be vigilant about establishing that trust as soon and as quickly as possible because that's how you're going to escalate these business relationships.
Mhm. So you say ask open-ended questions. What's your favorite open-ended question?
Oh, I have a bunch. So, what made you laugh this week is an easy one.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember what the answer was when the day we met? It was
No.
the Coldplay concert. The
Oh,
video.
that's right. Oh my gosh, because it was the day after the Coldplay concert
It
and
was the day after.
everybody was talking about the Coldplay
Oh.
concert. Oh my God, that's right. Oh, right. That's so funny.
And see how memorable those sorts of answers are, right?
Yes.
Like, if you had asked me, "How are you?" I wouldn't even remember, but
You would
because
have been
that was
like,
the
I'm
question.
so great. Like, you'd have been like, who's really that great? Nobody. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what made you laugh? That's a good one.
What made you
Mhm.
laugh today or this week? I like what would 2.0 you say to 1.0 you? That's after
Mm,
you've had like a little bit of a conversation.
right.
What are you working on right now? Personally or professionally? I don't care how you answer that. What are you
Yeah,
working on right now?
yeah.
I love talking about how I'm trying to learn how to do chin-ups. Like you never know who else is trying to learn how to do chin-ups. And
Oh,
that's a good, yeah, it's hard.
yeah,
Um,
it is hard, yeah.
yeah, I think yeah, there's just a lot of different questions you can ask, but those are some of my easy go-tos.
Okay, so I'd love to ask you more questions about the book, but I need to talk about dodgeball.
Okay, let's do it.
So, you recently hosted an event, you were part of an event that
I
had a
attended, yeah.
huge dodgeball game, a business conference, by the way.
Yeah.
I it wasn't a dodgeball conference.
Yeah.
So tell me about how this became a thing and how did you run it and the impact of it?
Yeah. So full disclosure, I was just an attendee at this event. This is an event put on by HPN Global
Oh, no.
Hospitality Performance Network. Okay. Am I there? Am I here? Okay. So it's an event. I just attended it, so I didn't run it. But it's put on by HPN Global, Hospitality Performance Network Global. They're the third largest meeting planning company in the world. They're the company that I'm a broker for. So I find hotels and venues for people all over the world. I negotiate their contracts and get them set up for their meetings. They plan the meetings, and then if they don't have a planner, then HPN Global actually has an entire team of people that I can connect clients with to do that. So every year, HPN does this partner meeting where it's 200 associates from HPN and 600, 500 hotel partners that we do business with all the time. So it's a relationship building business conference.
Mhm.
And last year, they did a networking event in Houston. It was a dodgeball tournament. And they assigned like an HPN associate to be the team captain. So it was like half associates, half business partners, half hotel people. So it was obviously great networking. Everybody had a team name, and it was such a huge success. Like hundreds of people standing around clapping and cheering for people throwing balls at each other is just a spectacle in itself.
Yeah.
But it's fun and it's something that everybody can play. So it was such a success last year that this year when they did it again, everybody took it to the next level. So team captains, they gave the names, and then everybody had like a theme. So like people came up, they had costumes on, and
Oh
they
my
were, I mean,
gosh.
it was so fun. I have so
Was
many
it a
pictures.
tournament?
It's a tournament. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like a double elimination tournament. and there
Gotcha.
were brackets up on the wall and
Oh my
everything.
gosh, how funny.
And so last year it was at a bar. This year it was at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It was at a professional NFL Raiders football stadium, which took it to a whole new level. Like, how many times can you be at an event where you're playing dodgeball on an NFL football field? I mean, it was awesome. So I opted not to play this year. I was worried about a looming knee injury, so
Mm,
I decided that I would watch. And it was so awesome because you're going like court to court watching people play. And then it eliminates down to just the two teams. And then they had everybody's names rolling on the Jumbotron, and sponsors obviously paid for the event. So on the rolling ticker
uh-huh.
across the thing, they had the
Yeah.
sponsors' names.
Yeah.
They had a bar on the field. They had some of the Oakland, not sorry, sorry, Oakland, the Vegas Raiders routes on a board and footballs, so you could actually run the route with a friend, and it was great. They had like football throwing, so if you didn't actually
Oh my
play
gosh, how fun.
dodgeball, there's all these different like things you could participate in or just watch. It was awesome.
I love this because really, I feel like so many of these large conferences, they focus on entertainment, which is much
Hmm.
more passive
Hmm.
than this dodgeball, which might not feel like networking, but it is. Like I spoke at a conference in Monterey earlier this year,
Yeah.
and it was literally you stumbled out of the hotel and you were in a historic district. It was like, this is where Portola landed in 1652 or whatever,
Yeah.
and this is a whaling wall. If you look down, the cobblestones are made out of whale bones. It was so cool to do this tour of the historic district. And we did it like around sunrise. So it was like all these,
Mm.
early movers who want to get their steps in. And it was such a great networking event for people listening. I'm putting networking in quotes because really you're just hanging out with people doing something that you all enjoy, but it builds bonds in a totally different way than like passive entertainment.
And it's
Right.
not as awkward as just like having a stale french fry or cheap glass of wine can be at a
Yeah.
networking event. So I'm a big fan of sweatworking, and I dodgeball is sweatworking. But
Yes.
anytime somebody asks me, "Hey Mandy, do you want to get together for lunch?" If it's a business situation, I ask them, I love having lunch at my house. Would you consider doing a walk either before or after lunch? Like
Mhm.
I like sweat working. And actually Stanford did a study a couple years ago about the power of movement and ideation. So the
Yes.
study was about walking.
Yeah.
And they did meetings that were sedentary, then they did meetings that were walking. The meetings that were walking, and I'm sure you know this from your brain science background,
Mhm.
but the study basically says the meetings that were walking, people retained the information 3 times better than the people that were sedentary. And not only did they retain it, but hours after, they were able to innovate and ideate faster than the people that were sedentary. So there's actually science behind when you're trying to be in a business situation with somebody, when you incorporate movement or
Yeah.
sweat working or something like that into it, it's actually more productive and more effective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, there was this philosopher who I read decades ago, who said our brains are stored on the back of our legs.
Mm.
And because he was a big proponent of walking. And then when I heard this brain science, fast forward, I heard this brain science, I was like, oh my gosh, like he was speaking, philosophically, but here's now the science to back up what he was saying. So
Yeah. I've not heard that. I like our brains are stored on the back of our legs. I love that. It's cool.
yeah, so interesting, activating it. Okay, well, our time has come to an end. I do want to wrap up with you telling us what you have going on in 2026 because I know there are quite a few things. So tell us what you got going on.
Oh, so many fun things. Okay, couple. February, I'm doing a special Sales Tales live session for entrepreneurs only. Entrepreneurs that are petrified of sales or want to grow their sales, you're going to want to sign up for this. This is a 70-minute virtual coaching session. I max it out at 30 people because you can hear from me, but you're going to get more when you interact with other entrepreneurs. So that's
Mhm.
in February, Sales Tales live session. I have a new book coming out next year towards the end of the year. So if you go to my website, you can click Keep Up with Mandi, pop your email address in, and I'll give updates on that. But the new book is called Business Bedside Manner. It is a business approach that I trademarked, that I'm very passionate about. So when you start the
Mm.
book, you'll be like, what the heck is business bedside manner? And when you end the book, you will have understood a definition of it. You will have gotten some better questions. You will have learned some tech hacks, and you'll be able to actually curate your own business bedside manner by the end of
Mm.
the book. And that's a micro book.
Nice.
I wanted a book that people could read from like getting on the airplane in New York and landing in Dallas or landing in San Francisco. I wanted it to be like an airplane read.
Nice.
So it's a small, short book, which I like. I'm a slow reader. Mhm. Yeah.
Nice. Well, exciting, lots going on. So keep up with Mandi Graziano, Instagram. You have her website. She's also on LinkedIn. You can find Mandi all over the place. And Mandi also hosts a podcast as well that
Yes.
tell us about the podcast so people can find you there too.
Well, you should see. You should see. Well, you were Allegre, right? Did I say that right? Did I do it?
That
Help
was so
me.
perfect. That was so
Oh, it
perfect.
was? Yes. You taught me. You taught me. It's the lay. It's the lay. Um, so it's called Adventures in Business Live, and Allegre was a guest on it. And it's every Monday, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's also a live show, and we interview CEOs, founders, and thought leaders about their trips, triumphs, stumbles, and successes in business. So for me, it's a masterclass once a week. I get to talk to really cool people and learn how to be better at business. And for the audience, people really have a couple cute takeaways. And I co-host it with Amani Roberts, who is also an author. He's a USA Today best-selling author, and he's an entertainment professor and a DJ by trade. So he and I come at the business side of it very
Mhm.
differently. So that's always kind of fun just to interact, see the way we interact as well.
Yeah, so check her out there and see it live on LinkedIn. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and
For
thank you
having me.
all for joining us this week. And remember,